My name is Elly Davies. I'm a lead learning designer for Leo Learning. Well, I always think it's quite strange actually that my A-levels seem perfect now for being a learning designer, which wasn't something that I'd heard of at the time, but I did computing, economics and English literature. So I think there's that sort of element of creativity and writing, a commercial aspect, and then obviously technology, and they've all kind of fused together. Obviously I didn't realise that when I went to university, so I studied English and American literature. I started as a production assistant and quickly found out what e-learning was all about. Had a brief sojourn in project management before moving across to learning design. It just seemed a very interesting role, the role of learning designer, because it's that thing of sort of, there's a slightly psychological aspect of trying to understand why human beings do the things they do and how they learn successfully. So I was a learning designer for several years, and then I've been a lead learning designer for about 5 or 6 years. And I really like that role in particular because I get to work with art directors and I get to work with the client very collaboratively, and I get to work with learning designers who are doing the script writing and the building. So I quite like being able to interact with all of these different roles and that collaborative element of a project. So yeah, I really enjoy it, and I like obviously being able to design something at the beginning and then see it being built into an actual product or service that people are going to experience. You know, I still think principles such as Gagne's 9 steps are very useful, but also drawing quite a lot from the world of psychology and worlds of, say, marketing or advertising, and how they can perhaps persuade people to do things slightly differently. And I think actually if you can work out what it is that is required, and also what it is that learners might want to get out of it, because those two things are not always the same. If you can understand both of those things, then obviously you can design something that's going to try and hit all those needs. So I really like it when we get positive feedback from learners. So it's really great when somebody said, "Oh, I didn't understand that before, but now I do," or "Actually, you know, this has been just put to me in a way that I hadn't thought about it, and and that really has made a lot of sense." So I love those kind of comments when we get them. So I enjoy working very collaboratively with a client, and it's very inspiring when they allow you to do that and they're willing to take a step back and start from the beginning and take a sort of fresh look at what it is that needs to be achieved and the different ways that could be done. One project we were able to work very collaboratively with the client, and was quite unusual subject matter, and was also the kind of subject matter where people said, well, this can't be covered by e-learning. This is only suitable for face-to-face training. So we got to sit with the client, who were the Child Bereavement UK charity, to make an e-learning course for teachers, and also a learning management system to hold the courses so that schools could sign in and get all the different teachers and school staff to come and do the e-learning in one place and track who'd done it and who hadn't. So it's split into various modules, and module 2 is looking at that time immediately after a death and how you can respond and help a child there. And then module 3 is looking at ongoing support, so it's reminding them things they may need to do several years down the line. So when we designed the learning, we really wanted to get the actual voices of the children and the young people involved within the e-learning. And again, that's something that, you know, isn't possible in a face-to-face session. You don't want to drag a vulnerable child up in front of a group of adults to try and give their perspective. So one of the design challenges we had was to think about the imagery, because a lot of stock imagery is very glossy. So we actually arranged a photo shoot and got some real kids to come in and model for us, and I think it really adds a different dimension to the learning rather than using those sort of very glossy images. A simple screen, but it shows the concept of puddle jumping, which is to explain that, you know, a child will jump in and out of their grief. So sadness is not a continual thing. When you're grieving, you might be happy and playing in the playground with your friends 1 minute, and then the next minute feel absolutely distraught. So it's common for people to make the mistake of seeing a happy playing child and thinking, well, they're fine now, they don't require further support, and that's not actually the case. You've managed to support Olivia, and as I said, even if you've made mistakes, it doesn't matter, because e-learning is a very safe place to do it. It's great that teachers can access this at any time. They can access it as refresher training, even if they've done it a while ago, but if they need to use it, they can get to it at any point that they want to, even if it's something that they do at home before coming into school the next day. For what is a learning designer, you probably need some sort of analogy. Maybe like a chef. So, you've got to pull together the right ingredients and apply the correct processes to them, and often working with a team of other people within your environment and make sure everybody's providing the right element at the right time to bring it all together to then hopefully make a dish that your diner/learner is really going to enjoy and also be nourished by.
I learned something.